Hello, hello. It is your favorite Mexican American in Germany. We're back with a second live this week. I just have so many things that I want to talk to you guys about. Today, we are talking all about what it takes to become a digital nomad out in these streets of the world. So today's guest has actually been digital nomading it before the pandemic and before we all kind of knew what that meant. So we're going to be going into details about how you become a digital nomad, how do you support yourself, what does that career trajectory even look like, and so much more. So we are just waiting for her to jump in. There she is. And then as you might know from my updates on Instagram, I started a new job today. It is a remote job, so I actually am going to start traveling quite a bit based off of the restrictions and recommendations put forward regarding COVID to make sure I'm still abiding by those rules. Hello!
Hi, how are you?
I am doing really well, calling in from Berlin. Where are you?
I'm in Puerto Vallarta, Mexico. You can kind of see
Oh, jealous. Oh man. How close are you to the ocean again?
that's it right there. I don't know how to do it on here. It's like
Oh.
not doing the HDR, but like we have a balcony and this is the ocean right there.
Well, we all hate you, so you can sign off now. Well, thank you so much for calling in from beautiful Mexico and giving us a taste of what our lives could be like as a digital nomad. Could you please introduce yourself with your name, what your handle is, and what you do?
Yeah, so my name is Dana Brockbank. My handle is Happily Ever Travels. I don't do a ton on Instagram, but I am a travel blogger, so it's mostly at happilyevertravels.com. I was at first a teacher at VIP Kid, and now I am a full-time blogger for both language learning and traveling and expat life and digital nomad life. And was that all?
Yeah, that was
And
perfect.
then, yeah, okay.
Well, you also travel with your partner, so is he also a digital nomad?
He is. He also started as a VIP Kid teacher, but now he has a new remote job, just selling for like a shipping company in the United States. But it was really cool to be able to find another remote job. Well, right now, online teaching is kind of in a low. We're waiting for the economy to pick back up in China and get more classes again. So it was cool to be able to find a job abroad. It was the first time we've actually done that with a real company, and he has a boss now and everything. It's kind of new ground for us, but it's been interesting.
I bet. Remote work is also kind of weird for a real company because you have to be so much more on top of yourself. Like there's certain habits that we're used to with an office, and now it's just you with your cat trying to make it happen.
Yeah, it's definitely not my style. I don't love it. And I don't know how much longer he's gonna last. We've been digital nomading since 2017, so we're coming up on 5 years. And this is the first time he's ever had a job in that, or I mean, a boss in that whole time. And it is quite the transition. And to go from just doing whatever hours we want to now doing like a 40-hour work week, whew, I can't do it. I'm not doing it, but he's doing it.
Well, I'm also in that 40-hour work week life, and my hours just got shifted. So I used to cover like Middle East, Europe, and that's why I could do all my work in the morning. But now I'm America, Europe, and these hours at night are killing me just a little bit. So we're going to pivot. We're going to shift. It's fine. But we're not here to talk about that. We're here to talk about you. So when you first started being a digital nomad way in 2017, what prompted that decision?
So we had just graduated college, and we realized that we were like, okay, we have all this crap, and we'd have to go get jobs, maybe find a house. We're like, is this what we want? And we just kind of started internally freaking out and realized that we did not want to do this. So
Yeah.
it just kind of happened just as of no, we're not ready for that. Turns out we're still not ready for that 5 years later. But basically, I was able to find a friend because my degree was in Spanish education,
Ah.
and I was able to, I met somebody who was teaching English online, and usually ESL and like Spanish foreign language degrees kind of go hand in hand. So I got both of them together. And so that kind of introduced us to the job that I do now and did then, which was VIP kid teaching.
Mm-hmm.
And basically how we started is I found a visa for Bali for 6 months, and we first went to Europe, traveled for the 90 days and 180 that you're allowed. Then we went to Bali for 6 months and kind of figured it out there, like kind of spent those 6 months just like ironing it out, and then for the next 4 years we jumped around and like that kind of.
That's awesome. Where have you been during those 4 years?
So the first year we did, we didn't live in anywhere specific in Europe, but yeah, so we did Indonesia. Then we lived in Vietnam, Thailand, and we went back and forth between Vietnam and Thailand for the next year and a half. Then we did Turkey. We lived there for a while, and then Mexico before and now again. And then last year in 2020, we lived in France for the full year.
Amazing. How was France?
The first time we've lived somewhere for a year. It was amazing, except for, coronavirus. But besides that, it was amazing.
It's such a shame you got to experience Europe when everything's locked down and nothing is open.
Yes, I was so sad about that, but like luckily we got to still do a lot of stuff around France, and we really got to know the area we were in, and I really loved that. But we're probably gonna move back. Like we're planning to move back to Europe. We miss it a lot.
It's
we hope
great.
we want to go back when it's like more open, but didn't get my fill of it.
Well, it's here when you're ready for it. And how do you find places to live as you're digital nomading all over the world?
So Jake and I are very, very budget friendly. We are as like frugal as they come. So basically my husband is really good at this, but we use Airbnb and just like look for countries that have the cheapest Airbnbs. And like our goal is always like when we were in Asia, we would spend only $800 a month on everything, on our Airbnb, food, travel trips, everything.
Yeah, that's amazing.
And then in both Europe and Mexico, it's about $1,500 a month. But basically, Airbnbs for as cheap as we can find them that have good reviews still, obviously. And then we just eat at home a lot.
Yeah,
we don't eat
that
out a lot.
is our strategy as well. But unfortunately, we got so good at it. We bought so many different ingredients from like specialty stores. I'm like, God damn it. This is blowing my budget. Yeah. So have you tried house sitting before? I hear this is popular with digital nomads.
It is, but we have not. I've wanted to like look into it, but we did like work away for a summer in Italy, and I didn't love it. I felt like it might be different for house sitting, but for my experience with doing work away, which is when you move to someone's house and you work for them for 5 hours a day, 5 days a week, and then they feed you and house you. Which I thought that would be super cool. I think if maybe I were a little bit younger and not married, but like it was kind of weird that some people really kind of expected you to like, I don't know, like it was a little bit of an abusive, I don't know. So like it was weird. Maybe another time for that, but like they expect a lot of you, and they kind of just like didn't treat you as well, and so I didn't love it. But so yeah, I think I've been a little nervous to start something else like that because my experience wasn't great. But and plus because we need the Wi-Fi and everything, it's just kind of easier to pay and stay at a $500 Airbnb.
Yeah, you get what you pay for essentially. So I feel the same way. Yeah. I think at least we're very privileged and like blessed in this stage of our lives that we can afford to rent out an Airbnb, hotel, etc. If you're 18 with no money, I would still recommend Workaway because I've known a lot of people that have had good experiences working for hostels where maybe there's a little bit more structure. You can also just work for someone in their private home in the middle of Costa Rica, which is what another friend did. And she had a great time. Courtney the Explorer. She's quite the adventurous woman. Oh yeah. She's great. She's been on my show too. And what's one piece of advice that you would give to people who are considering becoming a digital nomad?
I think I don't think this lifestyle is for everyone. But I do think it's worth trying if you're even thinking about it, because my piece of advice would be to save up enough money that you feel comfortable and then go, because especially if you're living in America and you're trying to save up 10, 15 grand, whatever you feel comfortable with, that might not be possible because of where you live. You can you might think that, you know, $1,000 flight to Asia sounds expensive until your Airbnb is only $300 a month, and all of a sudden you're saving more money than you ever could in America.
Yeah.
Like if we
absolutely,
only place we've not lived is America, because I can't afford it. I cannot afford to live in America on my salary with the hours that I'm willing to work. I won't do it. Like and for me, it doesn't match the like price of what you're getting. So I'm like, why would I live in like Utah for like $1,500 a month when I could live in Nice, France? My rent was $850 a month. Like, it just doesn't make sense to me. But anyway, go on a rant.
No, like the math is something people really need to consider, because I get a lot of people who are nervous about moving abroad, and they're like, well, what if the healthcare is not affordable? I have to pay for my medicine out of pocket. I'm like, even if you paid, like, let's say $80 in Mexico for your medication, you're still paying like $400, $500 for your rent. So there's no reason why you should stay in New York paying those insane prices just to avoid buying medicine over the counter. I'm sure lots of people are curious. How do you find jobs to support your life as you digital nomad around the world?
So with VIP Kid, that one is pretty easy to do if you have to have a bachelor's degree, but there are lots of online English teaching opportunities for anyone who doesn't have a bachelor's degree. So that one's usually the first one people do. After that, I just decided that I wanted to start blogging. Everybody said blog, and I always wanted to share what I was doing, because people are like, how are you doing this? And I'm like, well, I can't type this out to everybody. So I just started typing it out on a blog, and then it kind of just grew into that. So on my blog, I make money through affiliate sales. So I tell people, oh, I like to use this, and then they would buy it through my link. So I make money off of that now, and off of ads on my site. For Jake finding a job, just the old-fashioned way, going on like LinkedIn or like what are the name? There's like all these job listings. He went on all those sites and just
You've been out in the game for a while, girl.
I don't know.
Those sites over there.
He knows. I should ask him. But yeah, essentially his job was different, because he was looking for like just on the regular job websites that just asked for remote only. If he wasn't on like Upwork or anything. But yeah, I honestly don't know as far as like I don't know. I want to get into like kind of more of what you do, which is like being an independent contractor with like skills and services and stuff. I haven't gotten into that yet, but I plan to, because I love designing WordPress sites, starting people on blogging. I really like doing that. So that's kind of a future thing. But no, yeah, I'm not the best person to ask about how to get the job. I can do VIP Kid and blogging. That's basically it.
I mean, still great skills. And it just goes to show you, like, you can support yourself with so many different ways. You just need to be willing to like start trying and experimenting. Yep. And then once you find those two things, like, stick with them. You don't need to change that.
Exactly.
A couple ideas. Sorry?
You also like don't need to make as much money as people say that you need to make.
Yes.
So I didn't start blogging to think I'm going to be making like a ton of money.
10,000 every month, blah, blah, blah.
I don't make that much money. But I mean, to be honest, I've never made more than $20,000 between the both of us in a year. That sounds insane. But we have savings. We have Roth IRAs. We have a 401k. Like, we have money in savings more than the average American I've checked at this age. So I'm just saying that people who say that you have to be rich, absolutely not.
Mm.
Yes, we do have privilege because we were able to get our education for very cheap in America. You got it in the UK, right?
My master's, but I got my bachelor's in America, so.
And that was expensive too.
Yeah, $200,000. Thank you.
No, we didn't have student loans, so that really helped us. Honestly, if you can avoid student loans,
do it.
Which I know is yeah, but if you can, do it.
Mm.
You can go to school in Italy for like $300 a year. Like,
yeah.
I mean, if you're willing, do it.
Yeah,
That's
absolutely.
what I think.
And a couple more ideas about how to find work when you want to be a digital nomad. I used Upwork for 2 years and made at least $33,000 on that platform alone. I would also pitch my favorite small brands, favorite women-owned brands, to be like, do you need a social media marketer? Do you need a website developer? Like, I would give them ideas about what's possible for me, and then I would be able to do that contract work every couple months and then rotate those clients. So if you're willing to go and ask for work, you would be surprised with how many people reach back out to you and provide that opportunity. And when it comes to like some of the downsides of being a digital nomad, what is the number one downside?
For me, the number one downside would be I feel like I'm a little addicted to moving at this point.
Better than crack.
It's hard. It's a hard addiction to stop at this point.
Mm-hmm.
Which means that when I'm staying in one spot, say I move somewhere and I know I'm only going to be there for 3 months. I don't want to go out and like find friends if I'm only going to be here for 3 months, and then all of a sudden you're isolated and you're sad, and it's you can't make those deep friendships and connections that you can when you stay in one place. You really can't.
Mm-hmm.
You can have friends. Like, I've met some great friends while I've been a digital nomad. However, my best friends are still the friends that I had from my childhood and from college.
Mm-hmm.
So I would say if you like does that make sense? Like,
yeah,
if you can still do a different type of digital nomadism, which is just staying, like, you can get a longer visa, stay a bit longer, like, that's totally fine. But what I was doing is just staying as long as the visa allows me for a tourist. So like usually 1 month, 3 months, and yeah, just a lot of moving. And so eventually you're going to want a community. You're going to want maybe more roots than you have. Maybe a home, I don't know, things that a digital nomad can't have.
Yeah, I think everybody is on their own journey though. So when that instinct to nest and settle down kicks in, totally different for people. Like maybe that happens to you at 35 or 21. It kind of varies. So you need to do all the things you thought you wanted to do as soon as possible.
Yes.
It just wouldn't be possible if I had like a spouse with like a full-time career in one place, or I had a kid, or like real responsibilities. You got to go when you're young and dumb enough that to think that you can do it.
That's so true. Like, sometimes I look back at 2017, Dana, and I think, holy crap, like, you moved to a country with a one-way ticket you'd never been to. You didn't even test out your job in another country. 28-year-old Dana, I don't know if she would do what that Dana did. So like, I'm really grateful that she pushed me out of that, like my comfort zone, and now I am where I am. But yeah, you definitely become a different person as you get older, and your risk levels go down, and
yep.
you become a little more like, oh, I don't want to stay in a hostel, or like, you know. So go when you're young, and when you're willing to stay in a dirtier place that's cheaper, save more money. Like, I don't know, like, definitely, for sure. And yes, I think that comes at like when you're ready. Like, I still don't feel totally ready, but I feel like I'm getting there. But I don't feel like I could ever live a life where I'm only getting a certain number of days off a year. That's something that I've been ruined by digital nomading. As like, I cannot have someone tell me, oh, you can only travel 10 days a year. I'd be like, yeah, no, I can't do that. So in Europe, you get a ton of days off. Most Americans have no idea.
So I've never worked full time in America because I was smart and I left when I was 21. But I have 40 days of holiday this year, plus public holidays. Yeah, next year I'll have only 30 plus public holidays, but I'm remote now. So I'm going to go work from Greece in 2 weeks. I'm going to go work from Morocco. Like that freedom, as long as I'm in the right time zone, is money well spent.
Yep.
And I think people really underestimate how much money you can make as a digital nomad as well. So I would consider myself a remote worker, and I'm making a normal American salary finally. It took me long enough, but she got there.
You're there.
Yeah. So originally I was making 18,000 pounds at my first job in the UK, and that young crazy girl did what she needed to do to stay in the United Kingdom, and now all that risk taking has created a scenario where I feel really comfortable, I'm settled, but I still have that freedom.
Right. That's awesome.
We have a
And
question.
18,000, yeah. Do you have to have visa considerations when doing this? Absolutely. I'm planning to work for my US based company from Europe in the fall.
Yes. So
You
in
asked me about
Europe,
taxes.
yeah, I got visa and taxes. I'm all over it. Oh, taxes, not visa. So I'm currently writing an article, which my expat taxes is going to be reviewing and approving. So I got you. But basically, when you're a digital nomad working for an American company, you will still pay taxes in the United States. And so long as you are not a full-time resident in a second country, so you're doing like the whole fluttering around the world on tourist visas, blah, blah, you have no second home base, you can just file a 2055, I believe, which says, hey, IRS, I was not a American resident for more than 335 days or something like that. I was outside of the country for more than 35 days. Please give me a refund for the federal taxes that I paid. So that's kind of how the tax structure works, because your company is withholding those taxes. I'm not sure about state taxes, so you'll have to read the article after my expat taxes and I are done with that. But don't worry about that. What you should really be worrying about is the visa, because Europe is very, very specific when it comes to how long you can stay in a country, and if you are doing remote work while you're in that country. What visa allowed you to stay in France for the year?
We did the long stay visitor visa.
Mm-hmm.
It's definitely a gray area, I'm not gonna lie. However, they knew I had a job and they knew about my work. They don't want to support you. They don't want you to not have a job. Some countries have decided they don't want to let you have a job anymore, but France, as far as now, they knew what I was doing and it was on my application and all of that. So I don't know. It's a gray area. However, I got the visa. And so, and I wrote a lot about that on my blog if you wanted to read about exactly how I did it. As far as if you wanted to go to Europe and you wanted to country hop, okay, you're there. Okay, if you wanted to go to Europe and country hop, you could do the 90 days in the Schengen. So say you wanted to do 3 months in Italy, you could hop over to Croatia or Turkey, spend another 90 days in a still amazing beaches, amazing countries, and then head back. You could spend a whole year in Europe without having to get an official visa.
Yeah, the Schengen visa, like flexibility, we'll call it, can play out to your benefit. You just have to really be specific about those days, because if you're rejected and denied entry to a border, that will potentially be put on your like permanent record. I'm not sure what you call it, but it sounds like you're being sent to the principal's office. And I almost had that happen to me in France. They detained me at the border. They were like, we don't believe that you're going home. And this is when I was digital nomading. So I just started sobbing hysterically. And I was like, I have a ticket. I don't understand why you don't believe that I'm going to go home. And they told me it was because I had a partner in the country. And that's why they thought I was going to overstay my visa. And I was like, this is complete speculation. Like, nothing in my history says that I've ever overstayed a visa before. So just watch out for these gray lines and don't ever tell them that you have a boyfriend in the UK or in Europe. Just tell them you're traveling. You're allowed to do that.
Don't give them this sounds sketchy, but I'm telling you, don't tell them what you're doing. Just say, I am traveling. Why are you here? Travel. Why are you here? Don't say you're working online. It's really, because those people, like, it's not that it's illegal. It's just that it's such a gray area right now. Maybe the laws might catch up sooner rather than later, probably because of COVID. But right now they haven't. So just as long as you're staying on the visa and you're going to leave when you're supposed to, that's what digital nomading really is. If you're uncomfortable with that, probably have to stay home. But like, it's just the gray area that we live in, and you just gotta respect the days, but also know that you're paying taxes to your home country, and you'll be okay.
Yeah.
Foreign earned income exclusion, like you said, you're also saving on a lot of tax dollars by being a digital nomad if you make a certain amount of money.
So much. But now all of that is ruined because I live in Germany and they don't consider the LLC to be a corporation. They see it as an extension of Vanessa because I'm working in Germany physically the full time. So I got to pay 42% on all my Wander Onwards profits.
Wait, but you told me that you didn't. But did they let you use a lot of exclusions or like whatever?
Yeah, like you can do tax deductions for like business requirements. So like at the end of the financial year, like there was only a couple thousand in profit, but still it's treated like normal income. So because I'm taxed at 42% for my regular full-time income, all that Wander Onwards income was then added to the 42%, and I got a fat tax bill and I paid it.
Oh no. But you get to live in Germany. I mean, there's that.
Exactly. So we are coming to the end of our live. Thank you so much for being here. Can you please remind everyone where to find you and if you have any upcoming projects you'd like to promote?
So you can find me at Happily Ever Travels. That's my Instagram and my Facebook as well, but mostly on happilyevertravels.com. As far as projects, just out here writing blogs. I'm not really doing anything grand, but yeah, just check out if you are interested in learning languages and traveling for very cheap. I am the person you want to talk to because I know how to save some money while doing both of those things. So if that's what you like, head over to my blog and you'll be happy.
I appreciate it. Thank you so much for being on the show, and I will see you in the internet.
All right, awesome. Thank you so much.
No problem. Bye.